I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Storm Weather Impact Team, and we are watching some tornado surveys that came in today. And these surveys showing a confirmation of some tornadoes that actually occurred in parts of North Georgia and the metro Atlanta area during the day yesterday. When we saw these, the National Weather Service goes out and they survey the damage from these storms to determine whether or not they were tornadoes. And they did confirm an EF1 tornado near Griffin. That was from early yesterday morning. It had maximum winds of about 90 miles an hour. Also an EF0 in Henry County near Locust Grove. Now, I'm going to show you the Henry County survey here in just a second with the track on it. They have not yet released the survey on the one in Spalding County, and it's because they're looking at a couple of things. They're seeing two tracks there, and they're not sure if they are from the same tornado or if it was two separate tornadoes that went through Spalding County. So they're working on compiling that survey and getting all that information together there for an official report to come out. If it doesn't come out later tonight, it may not be until tomorrow when we see that report. Here is the survey, though, for that tornado that was down in Henry County. It was classified as an EF0 with max winds of about 75 miles an hour. You can see the track of the storm right here is at about 1.5 mile track. Wasn't really a long track at all, but it did start to the north of Luella right here near Eagles Brook Road and near Bethlehem Road, and it crossed over Interstate 75 there as it continued moving on over to the east before it lifted, and it did cause damage, mainly tree damage. We don't have any reports of any fatalities or any injuries or anything like that, so that is one good thing from that, but it was an EF0 tornado there. And again, we should get some more information in on the Spalding County tornado, if it was just one or maybe even two tornadoes down in Spalding County. But again, the Spalding one has been rated an EF1. Take a look at the pollen count for today, 191. That is the pollen count that came out early on a Tuesday morning. Now, you know, we had the big reduction in the pollen numbers from the thousands that we had last week and through the weekend. Then we had the rain and storms on Sunday, again on Monday. Monday's count was in the double digits. I think it was around 86. It's back up a little bit now. That is in the high range, but not extremely high range. We also have grasses and weeds in the low range. The mold is also in the high range too. And the main trees present there for those contributors are oak, pine, mulberry, sycamore, and also beech trees are the main contributors. Now, this is what's going to be interesting in watching this pollen count over the next couple of days. When we see big spikes in the temperatures of warmer air, that helps those pollen numbers to go up. When we see cooler air, it suppresses them a little bit. And with our colder air that's coming in now, overnight and in the morning, it's going to be really interesting to see what the pollen count is that comes in on Wednesday morning, because this is part of the season where we have some of those really high pollen counts coming in. And we had the rain come in to reduce it, and now we'll see if the colder weather can help to suppress some of these pollen numbers as we go through the next couple of days. We are not finished with the pollen season yet. It still has a little ways to go, so just expect those numbers to be coming back up once we see the temperatures warming up a little bit more too. But for now, we have the cold air moving in behind all the rain and storms that got out of here yesterday. We saw the impacts of that cooler air today with our highs only in the mid-60s. We do have the potential for some spots in North Georgia and West Georgia to see some freezing temperatures, and maybe even some West Metro counties seeing the potential for some patchy frost around. So I know you needed your jacket this morning. You may have put it away this afternoon. Tonight you need it again. In the morning you'll need it again, and then you'll be putting it away again tomorrow afternoon as we start to warm up just a little bit. Here is a closer look at those, the freeze warning and the frost advisory. So the freeze warning is mainly for North Georgia and into parts of West Georgia. It goes as far south here as Cleburne and Randolph County over in Alabama, over the state line into parts of Heard County, Carroll County, over into Haralson County, and then a little bit closer to Metro Atlanta there to Paulding County, Bartow, Cherokee County is in this freeze warning. It goes up to Pickens County, Dawson County, also into Lumpkin County, White County. That line to the north and also to the west, all of these counties there in North Georgia and West Georgia that you see in that purple color, that is where we have the freeze warning in effect. It is in these areas where we have the potential for temperatures to be near or at freezing, or maybe even a little bit below freezing. Now, here's what I want to make sure you understand about this. This isn't going to be a hard freeze. If these temperatures in these areas even make it to freezing, I don't think everybody in these counties will hit freezing. I do think there will be some pockets, mainly in outlying areas, that could hover around the freezing mark early in the morning. But even if it does make it to freezing, it'll only be for a brief time. It's not like a hard freeze where we have hours of temperatures at or below freezing. It would be just a brief time. So I know that many plants and blooms and blossoms could be damaged by a freeze, but I don't think this is going to be a killing freeze. It's actually going to kill some flowers or kill some plants out there because, again, it would just be a brief period with those temperatures at or below freezing. The purple color, actually the bluish color here in the West Metro area that you see in Cobb County, Douglas County, South Fulton County, Fayette County, Spalding County, Pike County, on over to Meriwether County, also into Troup County and Coweta County. That's where we have a frost advisory in effect. And in these areas, it is possible for some frost to develop, but I have something more to tell you about that too. We're still expecting a little bit of a breeze, not windy conditions, but just some breezes in the morning. And when you have breezes, that sometimes can inhibit the development of frost. So that's why we don't think it's going to be really widespread, maybe just some patchy frost in some areas. Now, if we had clear skies and very calm air, I would be a little more concerned about frost developing. But we do have the clear sky, but we just have a little bit of a breeze out there, and that's why we think it's just going to be some patchy frost moving through. So the time frame most likely to see that colder air would be between 2 in the morning and 10 in the morning. Really, the coldest air is going to be around sunrise, which is at between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. That's the time frame when I think we'd have the coldest temperatures that could be closer to freezing. And many of those areas in North and also West Georgia will be flirting with that freezing mark. Here in Atlanta, we're going to be down to about 40, 41 degrees. Outside the perimeter, there may be some folks that get down to 37, maybe 35 degrees in some of the suburbs. So flirting with that freezing mark, but I don't think we'll see any of that freezing temperature here in the metro area. So keep your coat with you, as we mentioned there. If you threw it in the back of the truck or in the back seat or something today because you didn't need it anymore, you'll need it again here tomorrow morning. We have clear skies out there right now, no rain in our area, and really all around the southeast, it is relatively dry. It's dry everywhere. We do have a few showers there around central and south Florida, moving off the coast, but elsewhere around the southeast, we're dry. We have clear skies tonight. We're going to see a good bit of sunshine tomorrow too, before another system comes in Thursday into Friday, and that will give us a little bit of rain. Right now, in the 9 o'clock hour, we're at 56 degrees here in the Atlanta area. We did get to the mid-60s for a high today. Yeah, it felt comfortable, but still those temperatures below where we should be for this time of year. 55 in Athens, 54 in Duluth, 40s right now in Blairsville and also in Clayton. And that cool air with that clear sky tonight is just going to radiate, or the warm air from today is going to radiate out into the atmosphere, replaced by cooler air. And look at this, by tomorrow morning, we're down to about 41 here in the city, more of those lower 40s on the east side, but look up to the north in Blairsville, closer to freezing there, 34 Dalton. Now, I know you're seeing 36 in Rome, Carrollton, and LaGrange. You may be saying, well, that's not freezing, but they're in the freeze warning. Remember, not everyone in the freeze warning will make it to freezing. I really think it's going to be these pockets in between those cities, more rural areas and low-lying areas where we have some cold air drainage there. Those are the spots that will have the better chance of potentially getting down to around the freezing mark. 57 by lunchtime, so we will start warming up during the day, and then eventually topping off in the mid, even some upper 60s in some spots for the afternoon hours tomorrow. And it's going to be still a little bit below where we should be for this time of year. Our average high for this time of year should be around 71, 72 degrees here. Look at the forecast track. We've got the dry air in place now. It stays with us overnight. We have that northerly flow changing northeasterly some during the day tomorrow, but still plenty of sunshine here in our area. On Thursday, we start to see a few more clouds that'll be moving in. And I'm thinking the daytime hours here on Thursday will be dry. This takes us to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Dry here in Atlanta. Southerly flow warming us up a little bit more. On Wednesday, we're expecting upper 60s. On Thursday, back to the 70s. Here you see some of that rain in parts of North Georgia beginning to come in. And as we head into the later part of the day on Thursday, especially overnight into the early part of Friday, that's when we're going to watch some of these showers move through. Mainly that, showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder and flashes of lightning. And within this area of rain, we could see some moderate rain coming in with it. By 7 o'clock in the morning, this model's showing it out of here. Some of our other models are showing it holding on just a little bit longer. So we're saying a 30% chance for showers late Thursday, overnight into Friday with this quick moving system moving in. There may be some rumbles of thunder with it and flashes of lightning. We're even at a lower risk for some of those storms that could turn strong. In fact, here's the Storm Prediction Center showing the green color in North Georgia, North Alabama, Mississippi, back into Arkansas, Missouri, places who've already seen their share of severe weather. Back into Kentucky, Tennessee as well, southern parts of Illinois and Indiana. All of those areas have a low risk, a level 1 of 5 risk that a couple of those storms could turn strong. They would be mainly isolated stronger storms, not really anything widespread, not a widespread severe weather outbreak. But this does extend into North Georgia, Metro Atlanta, and along the I-85 corridor there on the south side as well. So we'll be watching for that potential for just a couple of isolated showers that could turn strong. Look at these morning temperatures. 41 to start on Wednesday. Outside the city, it's going to be cooler than that. 47 Thursday, milder Friday morning at 51, and then cool again Saturday and also Sunday morning. And look at the high temperatures too. 68 for a high Wednesday, 75 Thursday. Cooling again Friday to the upper 60s, 63 on Saturday. That's going to be a cool day. And then back to 72 here for your Sunday as we warm back up. The European model showing here again on Thursday, a little bit of that moisture moving in into early on Friday, and then it exits. This model showing a little bit of wraparound moisture possible later in the day. Saturday mainly dry, maybe a couple of showers to the east of us, and then Sunday looking really nice out there with that mainly clear sky, and we'll see the temperatures that are going to be warming up just a little bit more. Next week we'll watch a couple of areas of rain that may move in, but nothing's really standing out right now of anything that looks like it would be really widespread coming back into our area. So here is that 7-day forecast where we will be seeing those temperatures up to 68 degrees here in the afternoon hours. And as we see those temperatures up to 68, that's going to be feeling a little bit below the average. Then a 30% chance for showers on Thursday with highs near 75. And we'll watch for the potential for a couple of thunder showers possible with that late Thursday, overnight into early on Friday. I really think a lot of this is going to get out of here pretty early during the day on Friday with that drier air that's going to start pushing in here, and also cooler air that's going to return back into our area too with temperatures around 68. And speaking of cooler, we're back to 45 on Saturday morning, then 63 on your Saturday afternoon. 43 for a low on Sunday morning, but then the afternoons start warming up just a little bit more, getting up to 72 here in the afternoon hours on Sunday, 81 on Monday, and then 79 on Tuesday with mainly dry conditions to start next week. A couple more clouds that'll be mixing in here on Tuesday as well. So a lot to watch this week. You see a lot of ups and downs in those temperatures. We're not seeing a lot of rain through the period, just watching that system late Thursday into early on Friday. That'll give us showers, maybe a couple thunder showers around, but for the most part, looking pretty dry, a good bit of sunshine that will at times mix in with some of that rain around. So keep it with us right here on 11 Alive. And 11 Alive Plus, as we will keep you posted here from the 11 Alive Weather Impact Team on any changes that are going to be moving into our direction.